The NASCAR Craftsman Trucks race is officially concluded from Kansas Speedway, and what looked like was going to be a pretty ordinary and a green flag finish turns in a little chaos, but also one of the best finishes of 2023. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to the video. I just got done watching NASCAR Craftsman Trucks race from Kansas Speedway, the Kansas Lighter 200, also the cutoff race to around a 10. We got quite a bit to talk about from this race. Let's go and talk about it. So, before the green flag drop in tonight's race, Chase James, Spencer Davis, Timmy Hill, Lawes Elman have to go to the rear front of prove adjustments. The biggest driver going to rear would be Matt Crafton and Colby Howard, who crashed and had issues in practice and qualifying. They would have to go to rear for backup trucks. So at the start of the race, you had Chase Purdy lead the field from the outside with Nick Sanchez on the inside, and we saw some really great racing up front early between both those guys, but inevitably on lap 2, Nick Sanchez was able to clear Chase Purdy. Then Nick Sanchez led for a little bit. There was some good racing up front. And then on lap 14, the first caution race come out for Bailey Curry, who spun on the backstretch from 23rd position. I think he was on the inside of somebody, maybe Caden Honeycutt, if I'm not mistaken, was trying to battle him, got loose off the corner, and got quite a bit of damage from spinning. Unfortunately, took Bailey Curry out of contention in this race. So then under caution, a little bit of strategy would happen. You have Grant Enfinger, Tyler Ankrum, Colby Howard, Spencer Boyd, Haley Deegan come down pit road, while most of the rest of the leaders stayed out. So then after a long crash, you had Nick Sanchez lead the field from the inside and Ben Rhodes on the outside. And we saw Nick Sanchez get a really strong restart and was able to clear for the lead. Meanwhile, Jake Garcia had a very bad restart and dropped a ton of positions and out of contention. Nick Sanchez and Ben Rhodes were battling really hard, I believe, for the lead at the time, but Nick was able to clear Ben Rhodes for the lead, and then Nick was able to pull away, but it would not matter for Ben Rhodes to catch him. Actually, I think Carson Osbar was up there as well. But the second caution race come out for Caden Honeycutt, who spun for 34th position off of turn number 4. Apparently, he had some contact with somebody, and unfortunately, that cut his tire, bringing the caution out. And this would end stage number 1 with Nick Sanchez coming off the corner to win stage number 1. And because of the Carson Osbar scoring 2 stage points, he would clinch a spot into the round of 8 of the Truck Series Plus, pending post-race inspection. So then, all cars would come down pit road except Grant Enfinger, who had basically, of course, had come down pit road during the first caution of the race, while everyone else came down pit road. We had Grant Enfinger leading the field from the outside with Nick Sanchez on the inside, because Nick Sanchez had won the race off pit road. They battled side by side, and Nick Sanchez was able to clear for the race lead. Meanwhile, Chase Purdy would have to come down pit road from 8th position with a possibility of a loose wheel, and there was radio, and he actually did have a loose wheel. But then, up front for about 10 or 15 laps, you had some all-time awesome and really great racing between Nick Sanchez, Carson Osbar, Zane Smith, Corey Heim, and Christian Eckes and Grant Enfinger were all up front battling for the race lead. Inevitably, though, Carson Osbar got a really strong run to the inside, and bottom is able to pass Nick Sanchez for the race lead. Meanwhile, Ben Rhodes has scraped the outside wall of turn number 4 and got an outside wall, getting a ton of damage, and his car would start to fade. But it would not affect the outcome of stage number 2, as Carson Osbar would come off the final corner and win stage 2. Then all leaders would end up coming down pit road, taking 4 tires. Corey Heim would take the lead off of pit road. Carson Osbar had a really bad pit stop, losing 3 positions, and would drop from 1st to 4th on pit road. Then also under the caution, you had Chase Purdy and Gray Van also take the wave around under the caution, and Bailey Curry and also Caden Honeycutt also took the wave around as well. So then on the restart, Corey Heim lead the field from the inside with Nick Sanchez on the outside, and Corey Heim got a really strong restart and was able to clear. And then Carson Osbar, he sends a 3 wide through the middle, tries to get the lead but couldn't get it, and Corey Heim held on to the race lead. Then the next lap, Matt Crafton and Ben Rhodes both had major trouble, and playoff implications that come into play as Matt Crafton, he made some hard contact with the outside wall in turn number 2. And then Ben Rhodes also had a damaged right rear with contact from the wall from running in 7th position, putting those drivers in jeopardy of making it to the next round. And then we saw some really great racing up front after a long time as Carson Osbar's car was really strong in the long run, is able to catch Corey Heim for the lead, and inevitably a few laps later was able to pass Corey Heim for the lead. And at this point, Ben Rhodes went a lap down. And then we started seeing green flag pit stops on lap 95, around 40 laps to go, with Corey Heim coming down pit road first from second, and he also had time adjusting him down. He had basically stalled on pit road, was able to get it back going. Then the next lap, Carson Osbar, he came down pit road, and then eventually we saw guys like Grant Enfinger, Nick Sanchez, Zane Smith come down the next lap. Then a few laps later, Matt DiBenedetto came down pit road, and then Jack Wood also came down pit road. And this would hand the lead right back to Corey Heim. And at this point, he had a cat and mouse game between Corey Heim and Carson Ospar. Both drivers are really, really strong and had the two fastest trucks throughout the entire race. Carson was catching at times, but Corey was getting through traffic really, really good, and he had Carson trying to catch him. So I thought this was going to come down to a really heads-up battle between both of them. But that would all change with 16 or 17 laps to go when Mason Maggio crashed from 22nd position in turn number 3. Mason Maggio fortunately had a flat tire and hit the outside wall really, really hard. Tough break too because he was having a decent run with AM Racing tonight in the top 25. Unfortunately, this took Mason Maggio out of contention in this race. So then we come to the restart with around 8 or 9 laps to go. It took them almost 10 laps to get the caution done. You had Corey Heim lead the field from the inside with Carson Ospar on the outside. And Corey Heim got a really, really strong restart and was able to clear for the race lead. But then coming down the front stretch, the final caution race to come out for contact between Roger Krug, who had to go through the grass after Jesse Love had gotten loose, and also Roger had gotten turned by Tanner Gray, and Tanner Gray clipped him back up to the outside wall, bringing the caution out. Roger's trying to check up not causing a wreck, and unfortunately got clipped, and Tanner Gray kind of had nowhere to go. Unfortunately there, I can't really put blame on anybody there. That's just a racing incident to me. But unfortunately, it cost both drivers a shot and opportunity of some pretty solid runs. So then, on the final restart of the race, you had Corey Heim lead the field from the inside and Zane Smith on the outside. And we saw some really awesome and great racing on the restart here. You had Zane Smith, Corey Heim battling side by side going to turn number 1. Then they went up the racetrack side by side. And you had Christian Eckes descended to the bottom 3 wide. Meanwhile, you had Matt DiBenedetto behind, sending it up to the inside for 4th position, going to turn number 3, and would inevitably lose 4th at the time, but he would get another opportunity to run. As it came down to the white flag, you had 3 by 3 coming to the white flag between Zane Smith, Christian Eckes, and Corey Heim. But then Zane and Corey, I believe, were able to clear going down to front stretch. They go into turn number 1, both side by side. Then going down to back stretch, Christian Eckes was sent it 3 wide to the bottom, make a massive, massive move, and clear to the inside. And then going to turn number 3, they were 2 and 3 wide. Zane would get loose, and Corey Heim would also get loose, losing a ton of positions. And coming out the final corner, Christian Eckes comes out of nowhere and picks up his 3rd victory of the 2023 season. I believe his 5th career Truck Series win, and a massive, massive day for Christian Eckes as he picks up 5 bonus points. Huge congratulations to Christian Eckes. Did he have the best car? No. But he was in the right position, right opportunity, and time to capitalize on these late race restarts. And he pulled off an incredible restarts, incredible moves, and that's how you win these races. And this is also the first race he's won this year that hasn't been under caution. So massive congratulations to Christian Eckes. That's really huge momentum. He's finished 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Well, I think 2nd, 3rd, and 1st, I should say. So they got a lot of momentum right now. They got a lot of speed. And Christian Eckes is back in the hunt for this championship. And I think they got a really great chance to win the championship this year. Some great momentum going into the round of 8. But they already locked themselves in round 8 after the race in Milwaukee. So it really didn't matter at this point. So now we're going to take a look at the race results, and I'll give you my score and thoughts on today's race. So Christian Eckes picks up the victory. Taylor Gray finished 2nd. How about that for Taylor Gray? Obviously, kind of benefited from some of the stuff that was going on in Corey Heim and Zane Smith losing positions. But Taylor Gray had one of his better races of the 2023 season. Ran the top 10. I feel like he's been improving as the year has progressed. Great night for Taylor Gray in 2nd. Matt DiBenedetto finishes 3rd. Man, unfortunately, Matt DiBenedetto was 5 points away from advancing to the round of 8. Had they had a better race in Milwaukee, they right now would be in a position to advance in the round of 8. But didn't take away from the night. They ran top 10 pretty much all night long, and I thought they were going to have a chance to come in and steal the victory. It is a shame that he isn't going to advance the round of 8, but great night for Matt DiBenedetto in 3rd place. This ties their best run of the 2023 season, which obviously also came in North Wilkesboro. They came so close, but so far. But unfortunately, they do not advance to the round of 8. Corey Heim finishes 4th. I think Corey had probably one of the 2 best trucks in the field this evening. He was really good, led 40 to 41 laps in this race. Unfortunately, got beat near the end, but still a very solid night for Corey Heim in 4th place. Zane Smith finished 5th, one of his better runs, especially recently. He's kind of struggled the last couple weeks. Great night for Zane Smith in 5th. He was in a position to win this race, but a great night for Zane Smith to finish in the top 5. Good night for him. Carson Ospar finished 6th. In my opinion, Carson probably had the best truck in the field. His truck was really good, especially in the long run. Unfortunately, the pit crew cost him on the last green flag pit stop. And then, of course, he had other issues that really came to play that cost him a shot right there. But still, I think if you're a Carson Osbar fan, you got to feel confident. He's got a lot of good tracks coming up here going into round of 8. He clinched and with enough points. He was confident, had a great truck. Unfortunately, not capitalized on the run, but still a very solid run in 6th place. Stuart Friesen finished 7th. Solid run for Stuart Friesen tonight. I think Stuart Friesen had about a 10th to 15th place truck most of the evening, but he's been struggling the last 2 weeks. So good to see Stuart Friesen finally have a good run. Nick Sanchez finished 8th, kind of fell back near the end of the race, was in the top 5 and top 10 most of the evening. He, of course, does advance in a round of 8 as well, so very solid night for Nick Sanchez in 8th. Did he what he had to do, won stage 1, just they couldn't keep up with the truck to keep up for the win tonight, but still a great night for Nick Sanchez in 8th. Jesse Love finished 9th. Great top 10 for Jesse Love. Again, of course, he didn't have a great race in the ARCA race, but still good to see Jesse Love finish in the top 10 in 9th. And Tyler Ankrum with a very solid top 10 finish. Good run for Tyler Ankrum. At one point, he was like 22nd or 23rd, so a solid bounce back to get a top 10. Jake Drew finished 11th. Solid run for Jake Drew. Ran top 10 a majority of the night, so very impressive race. I know IRP did not go great for him, but if you're a Jake Drew fan, you got to feel confident of how good of a run he had. Solid run in 11th place. Jake Garcia finished 12th. Not sure what happened to him. He had one of the 5 or 10 best trucks in this race. Was in the top 5 early. Kind of faded, got on the outside wall, and never really recovered. And unfortunately finished 12th. Roger Krug finished 13th. Man, at times Roger Krug looked like he had a top 2 or top 3 truck. Unfortunately for Roger Krug, he had that spin that cost him a shot, a great run, but it's a much better race than what happened last time we were here at Kansas. But he was really good here in the spring, so I expected Roger to run pretty solid, and honestly, he did a pretty decent job. Chase Purdy finished 14th. Chase Purdy did pick up his first Truck Series pole. Was up front early, but they had that loose wheel, but a decent recovery. I think Chase Purdy could have had a top 5 finish tonight, which would have been really great. They had great pace and speed, and still not a bad night, all things considered. Dean Thompson finished 15th. Decent run for him in 15th place. Jack Wood finished 16th. Decent recovery for them. Grant Enfinger finished 17th, but unfortunately they had a speeding penalty in the last green flag pit stops that took them out of contention, but they were already locked into the next round, so it really didn't matter. Ty Majeski finished 18th, just not another great night for Ty Majeski, unfortunately. They were only as far up as 10th. I'm a little worried about Majeski going into the next round, but he's got a lot of good tracks coming up, so that might help him going forward. Colby Howard finishes 19th. Brett Holmes finished 20th. Bailey Curry with a decent recovery in 21st place. Wallace Allen finished 22nd. Daniel Dye finished 23rd. Timmy Hill finished 24th. Ben Rhodes finished 25th. Despite the struggles for Ben Rhodes, he is locked into the next round. So if you are a Ben Rhodes fan, you definitely got to be happy about that. Unfortunately, though, they got to clean up some of the mistakes because they finished 16th, 16th, and 25th, but they scored enough stage points to make it to the next round. Tanner Gray, after crashing out of issues, he finished 26th. Katie Honeycutt finished 27th. Chase James finished 28th. Justin Carroll finished 29th. Haley Deegan finished 30th. Not sure what happened to her. She had a top 15 truck tonight. Was doing really, really good in the beginning. But unfortunately, just tonight did not go well for her, which I thought tonight would go better for her. She historically is pretty good at Kansas. So it was a little disappointing to see her struggle tonight. But it's not been a great year for her in the Truck Series. And she's probably wanting this year to be over at this point. Spencer Boyd finished 31st. Gray Van Alst finished 32nd. Matt Crafton, after his issues, unfortunately, also does not advance to the round of 8 of the Truck Series class. They had tire trouble and tire issues, took them way out of contention. They never were a factor to begin with. They were decent, but unfortunately, after hitting the outside wall in stage 3, that cost them any sort of shot to make it. Jennifer Jokop finished 34th. Mason Maggio, after crashing out, finished 35th. And Spencer Davis, who didn't even really he only completed one lap with Roper Racing. He finished 36th in last. So now, let's talk about the overall race as a whole, and I'll give you my scoring thoughts on tonight's race. Honestly, this race, for the most part, was really, really entertaining. You had great racing up front in stage number 1. You had awesome racing at times in stage number 2. And that finish was absolutely incredible and absolutely fun. Sure, got a little spread out in stage number 3 when the green flag pit stops happen, but that happens sometimes, especially when you come in later. Sometimes you have worse pit stops. You're going to get spread out. But I thought tonight's cutoff race for the Truck Series Kansas was absolutely outstanding. Kansas is definitely one of the best racetracks in NASCAR currently. I am giving tonight's Truck Series race overall a 9 out of 10. Very, very great race in my opinion. A fantastic finish. I enjoyed this race overall. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. So, that is going to be tonight's NASCAR Truck Series race review from Kansas Speedway. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe to the channel, notifications on so you know if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Let's go below that and comment your thoughts below on today's video. What are your thoughts on tonight's race? Let me know below. Let me know your score in the comments below. And congratulate Christian Eckes on picking up the victory. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we'll have the NASCAR Xfinity Series review from Kansas Speedway. Then on Sunday, of course, we'll have the NASCAR Cup Series race review for the Hollywood Casino 400 from Kansas. Then on Monday, we're going to have a NASCAR news video on the channel. And of course, we are also going to have race picks for the Truck Series race at Bristol as well. A lot of great content dropping the channel that I cannot wait to share with you all. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching tonight's race review, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.